Today we're going to preview Oklahoma versus Texas Christian and all that's coming up after the bumper.
What do you mean you don't subscribe to my son's YouTube channel?
Mama, no!
Just snap the damn ball, RJ.
What's up, kid folk? It's RJ Young. I am not on a step mill. Consider hitting the like and subscribe button because I upload a video every single day. It's always OU related, college football related, sports related. We have a good time. And today I'm going to preview Oklahoma versus TCU. But first, I got this book coming out. It's called Let It Bang. It drops on October 23rd. It is available wherever books are sold. I would appreciate it if you ordered it at rjyoungwrites.com. I also got these t-shirts. Man, they say Bedlam Tradition, and that is holding these L's. That's what the shirt is. Hold this L, Oklahoma State. There is a link in the description and in the comments below for where you can purchase them. All right, so now I'm going to preview Oklahoma versus TCU, and I got to tell you, this isn't the game that I thought it was going to be at the start of the season. I thought this was going to be one of the tougher games on the schedule, and now all of a sudden, TCU is looking a lot like 2013 TCU. 2013 TCU finished 4-8. And there are reasons for that. Now, they came out looking like world beaters, and I picked them to beat Ohio State. And up until about the midway point of the third quarter, Texas Christian looked like they were going to beat Ohio State. And Sean Robinson was having the game of his life. But then Sean Robinson throws 2 picks, and Ohio State does what Ohio State does, and they're undefeated. They get past Michigan, they win the Big Ten championship. They're going to be in the college football playoff, maybe a 2 seed at this point. And since beating Southern Methodist 42-12, Texas Christian is 1-3. That's losses to Ohio State, Texas, win against Iowa State, and a loss to Texas Tech. And that loss against Texas Tech was 17-14 to a backup quarterback who was basically a carbon copy of Sean Robinson. It's not that I don't like Jet Duffy. It's just that Jet Duffy is not the guy that I thought should beat TCU. And it ain't the defense that has been losing games at Texas Christian. They got some players on Gary Patterson's 4-2-5. And they showed up against Tech. Tech had been averaging about 48 points and 591 yards of offense a game. Texas Christian held Tech to 17 points and just 353 yards of total offense, which is how I can get on my high horse about how you can play defense in this league and you can consistently rank in the top 25 of total defense playing defense in this league. Gary Patterson's squad is good at playing defense. They just don't have an offense to support them, which means they basically have the opposite problem of Oklahoma. Shout out to Ruffin McNeil, who saw Oklahoma rise in the rankings without playing a game. Telling you that firing Mike Stoops is already paying dividends. And I kind of felt for Patterson because his defense did show up and his defense did play well, and because Texas Christian is 111-5 when allowing 17 points or fewer, and they did that in back-to-back games. Peep game, they gave up 31 to Texas. They gave up 34 combined to Iowa State and Tech. And as you can tell from West Virginia and from Oklahoma, Iowa State ain't no easy win. But the common denominator for TCU's losses is Sean Robinson. In every loss Texas Christian has had, he's thrown at least 2 picks. Matter of fact, he's only got 1 more touchdown, 9, than he does interceptions, 8. I mean, Sean Robinson's only passed for 1,300 yards this season, and his QBR is 58.1. He ain't a good quarterback, man. And they try to get him some help in the run game with Darius Anderson and Sewu Olanalua, but that just ain't cutting it. Between those 2 guys, you're averaging about 5 yards per carry, but you only got 3 rushing TDs. That's bad. However, if you just give Darius Anderson some more carries against Oklahoma's defense, you might see some good things happen. But I still marvel at what Sweaty Gary has been able to put together at Texas Christian, which ain't a powerhouse, and continues to punch above its weight. No matter what you think about Texas Christian, they should not be competing for championships in the Big 12. And yet, they're always a thorn, and they're always in somebody's side. And then I got to thinking, how is it that Sweaty Gary can continue to put great defenses on the field with a scheme that not a lot of folks run? And then I looked at some of the stars on his defense. Ben Banigou is an LA Monroe transfer. Defensive tackle Terrell Cooper had 0 Power 5 offers. Linebacker Ty Summers, who they nicknamed Captain America because that's how he rolls, committed to Rice as a quarterback, and then Sweaty Gary convinced him to play linebacker, defensive end, whatever it is he needs him to do on the defense. Linebacker Rico Evans is a Louisiana kid that LSU just didn't offer. Cornerback Jeff Gladney had 0 Power 5 offers. Quarterback Julius Lewis had 0 Big 12 offers. Enos Gaines, who's safety and pretty good at what he does, had only 1 Power 5 offer from Arkansas. And Ridwan Isaaku is a Georgia kid that nobody in the Power 5 offered. Now, I get also a lot of what Sweaty Gary has been able to put together is based on continuity. I mean, he's been the head coach at TCU for 18 years, which means he's the second longest serving head coach in the Big 12 behind, Merlin up there in Manhattan, where they don't so much as say, we're going to come up here and play football as much as we're going to come up here and hit you with this aluminum bat. And then I got to thinking about the recruiting rankings, because maybe it's that he's getting guys and he's growing them up as opposed to getting all these transfers. And it's not, man. I mean, in the state of Texas, TCU is kicking A&M and UT's behind. Since 2015, TCU hasn't finished higher than number 21 in the 24/7 composite team rankings, and that was 2016. In that same time span, Texas has finished number 3 in the country, 2018, and no worse than number 25, 2017. While Texas A&M in that same time span has finished at number 11 and number 17. That'd be 2015 and 2018 respectively, but also they signed Kyler Murray and Christian Kirk through that same time span and did nothing with it. What I'm saying is, if Gary Patterson tells you that he wants you to play defense for him, you're probably going to be pretty good and you're probably going to have an opportunity to play in the NFL, which is how I can get around to dunking on Mike Stoops again, because that's not something that you could really advertise at Oklahoma. I've always said that 4- and 5-star kids that decide to come to Oklahoma are doing it out of their good graces because we haven't been able to put any defenders in the first round since Mike Stoops' return. Doesn't happen at Oklahoma. Needs to change. Maybe Ruffin McNeil is going to be a precursor to what that looks like going forward. And that's another thing that we're going to look for is, what's the front going to look like? We're pretty sure it's going to be a 4-man front. But are you going to run 3 linebackers or 2? Is it going to be a 4-3 or 4-2-5? And I think that matters against TCU because Sean Robinson is probably Oklahoma's best opportunity to pick off some passes. Like I said, in the 3 losses, he's thrown at least 2 picks in each game. He's not exactly a ball security guy. Jalen Reagor is a 5'11 receiver. He is TCU's best wide receiver, 37 catches, 432 yards. He should not be sunning anybody the way that Colin Johnson and LJ Humphrey were with Texas. You just don't have that problem with Texas Christian. Kevontae Turpin is good, but Kevontae Turpin also fits in your pocket. What I'm saying is this game is much more winnable than I thought it would be, and that TCU is coming off a loss, and that they're 3-3. They're this close to mailing in their season, and they know that Oklahoma has had 2 weeks to prepare. Even though with the upheaval at defensive coordinator, I would say that TCU would very much still like to have that game right where it is because you're breaking in a new coordinator and possibly a new scheme, but it is still a game I think Oklahoma should win by 2 touchdowns. Kyler Murray is one of the most efficient quarterbacks ever and second behind Tua Tagovailoa, and you can attack Texas Christian by running the football, and Oklahoma can do that. I know that there are folks that don't believe that this offensive line is as good as last year's, and that might be true. But the fact of the matter is, when they decide they want to run the football, they do it. Whether it's with Kyler Murray at quarterback, Trey Sermon, Marcellus Sutton, TJ Pledger, or Kennedy Brooks at running back. And I think that's the way to go. Because in the wins against Texas Christian, all 3 schools, Texas, Tech, and Ohio State, have rushed for more than 100 yards as a team. Texas was able to do a little bit less with 112 yards rushing, and Ohio State just went to work with 182 yards rushing. But I think you're going to have to set the tone running the football early and often, force Gary to call up some blitzes and put his kids in man coverage so that Kyler Murray can do what he does and carve them up. This is the first game Oklahoma has to win after the bloodbath that came this weekend among college football. We are sitting pretty and ready to take on Gary, and put together a run. 6 games straight, win a Big 12 title, get into the college football playoff, and then have an opportunity for number 8. All right, that's it for me. Deuces.